Okay, guys, we're going to do a lesson that is probably a little bit of review. I know we've touched on it this year briefly, and I'm pretty sure you've had it in past courses, but it's section 5.5 or 05, and it has to do with constant differences. It's a fancy way of saying, hey, look, we're going to get a table of information, and we want to write an equation to go with it. Okay, so we've got our in column, our independent variables, our x's. Our out column, these are dependent, that is, these numbers depend on that number. And I've added a third column, the delta column. It's how do things change, okay? So what we want to do is we want to aim at the slope-intercept form of an equation. So we're looking to write an equation in y equals mx plus b form. So maybe the easiest thing to do is just to acknowledge that right there, that is our b value. When x equals 0, the y value equals b. So b equals 1, okay? Now, the delta column is, we want to look at, it's for looking at how do the y values change each time, okay? Well, you can see this is a very consistent change of plus 3. So that is our delta y when we're talking about slope. And on this side, it's a very consistent plus 1. And that column over there is showing that our delta x is 1. So our slope, which is delta y, change in y, over delta x, change in x, is equal to 3 over 1. So the slope of the line, should we graph it, is 3. Now we can put that into y equals m, which is 3, put down an x plus 1. Y equals 3x plus 1. If you take any of these x values and plug it in, you'll get the y values. So if I took 5, 3 times 5 is 15 plus 1 is 16. And I get that column. All right, let's look at another one. So if we had Timon first, we're going to have to put in Pumbaa. So here's Pumbaa. Same thing. We want to find our b value, our y-intercept, and it's right there. When x is 0, b is 2. So b equals 2. And now this column is showing a very consistent plus 4, and the x's are showing a very consistent plus 1. Okay, so my slope, delta y over delta x, equals 4 over 1. So I can write the equation y equals mx plus b, so y equals 4x plus 2. Okay, now you may wonder why I put this additional column in, this delta column. Trust me, when we get to constant ratios, not constant differences, but constant ratios, that D column is going to come in real handy. So that's why I'm putting it there now. Okay, I've got one more for you, and this is Nala. Okay, now if you look at it, I got the table, but it's got a whole bunch of things missing. So what we want to do is use logic to fill in the rest of the table and then write the equation, okay? Well, let's do the in columns first. It's very easy. Look, 2 to 3 is 1, and if I put in a 1 here and a 4 here, that maintains the delta x. Delta x equals 1 every time. Now, you guys don't think it's always going to be 1. On the homework, it might be something else, so don't think it's always going to be 1. Now, over here, the 5 is telling me that there's a constant addition of 5 each time the y value changes. So we can go backwards 5 from 8 and get 3. And then 8 plus 5 is 13. 13 plus 5 is 18. 18 plus 5 is 23. And a check is 23 plus 5 is 28. Okay, so we have our b value. B equals 3. And our slope is delta y over delta x, which is 5 over 1, which is just 5. So y equals mx plus b. Y equals 5 x plus 3. Okay, so like I said, this is a quick one because it should be review. It'll get you going on the homework. The homework does have some like this, where you're going to be filling in columns. And it's also got some where you're going to have to think maybe in terms of expressions, okay? But the process is the same. So bring me any